Today I'll be showing you how to set up your belt. This is based on my experience using it for dynamic shooting. So the first thing you want to look out for is a belt that works like this. So there's an inner loop that will actually go through the loops on your pants, and it attaches with Velcro to the outer one. Why do you want to look for something like this? Because as you can see, they have quite the width, and most pants, even tactical pants, won't accommodate these through the loops. You have a smaller inner belt, and make sure that the inner belt obviously works with the rest of your gear. So that's the first thing to look out for. The second is you want to have molle all around, so you can attach all of the stuff you will need for your setup. And very important, some kind of QD buckle just makes your life way easier. By any means, this is probably not the best belt. I got this for quite cheap, and I'm replacing a Russian-made one that is unfortunately too large, or getting too large for me. But I think for my purposes, this will probably do, and for 99%, unless you use it professionally. So this is what you should look out for. Obviously check the length and whatnot, check the stitching, and if that makes a decent enough impression, and you go ahead and get one. So now we'll be looking at what I usually put on my belt, and I'll show you the layouting in the next step. So first of all, you want to get some kind of dump pouch. And what is this for? So mostly you got an empty mag, you don't want to drop it, obviously you want to keep it, you don't want to put it back into your mag pouch where your full or half full mags are. So you drop it in there, and then one less thing to worry about. But not only that, you want to grab a water bottle, you shove it in there. It's really a multifunctional tool. And when you look for dump pouches, look for something that has some kind of retention mechanism. So it's just not an open bag. Basically you have this thing. So it's easy to put things in. It's harder for them to come out. And you can fasten this to make it even more efficient. So very essential. Other than that, there's no real thing you have to look out for. Obviously it should go on a belt or through molle. That's all you're looking for. So dump pouch, the most essential part. Maybe something else. Have a look that it has drain holes. If you're out in the rain, you don't want to carry around 1 liter of water on your bum. So other than that, another very essential part, this depends on your setup, but I got a very basic IFAK to put on my belt. So even if I don't have my plate carrier on me, I have still something with the essentials. I have a complete video on this regard, so make sure to check that out. And now to the probably main reason why you want to have a belt is more real estate for carrying magazines. And here I usually go with the following setup. I have 3 mag pouches on my plate carrier, and that obviously isn't enough, 4 mags. So 1 in the rifle, 3 in the plate carrier. So I need at least 3 more. And I run the following setup, and this has worked very well for me in the past. That is, I have a double, so I can stick 2 AK mags in there, or whatever other mags you're using. And I have these that are 1 mag for a rifle and 1 for a pistol. So I don't really use them as a pistol mag holder, because I have a separate belt for when I'm doing shooting only with a secondary firearm. But these small ones are great for carrying anything else you might encounter. So flashlight, and this is a bit awkward to do with the camera in front of your face. So you want to carry your flashlight, shove it in there. You have a multi-tool, don't want to lose it, you shove it in there. So their limited width is very helpful. You might lose some carrying capacity and have some additional weight through these pistol pouches, but at least 2 of them are really great for anything you just want to shove in there and carry with your person all the time. And speaking of pouches, there's many different systems. Using mostly AK mags, so probably need something that is catered to your magazine shape and width and whatnot. But generally speaking, having such a setup with these elastic cords, so it's fairly easy to shove something in there. It's easy to remove it, but they hold very well. So you can lay down on the floor, roll around, jump around, and you won't lose them. So anything that uses some kind of this retention mechanism is great. And they have these rubbery flaps on the side, which just add some friction. So perfect system. Obviously, next to that, you want to have molle. So there you go. This is some stuff I got from a shop that has a color in their name, and probably you can't buy there anymore nowadays. So go figure out. Anyhow, now let me show you how I usually set up this on the belt and explain to you why. So first of all, and now we're going to face it like this. So imagine my head would be facing this direction, left arm, right arm. I want to have my dump pouch on the left side of my back. I don't want it directly in the middle because A, it's hard to reach around, and B, I still want to be able to sit down. So I generally hate stuff directly on my 6. So I just put it slightly left to the side. I can still move it and sit on my bum without having empty mags in my back. So yeah, that's great. So dump pouch goes here. Then I use my left hand for reloading. I have my rifle in the right hand, I have my left hand here. So I usually want to be able to access my mags with my left hand unless I'm shooting from my non-dominant side. So that's why I have most of my pouches on the left side, and I put this one in front. I want to have a quick access to, let's say, my flashlight, one lucky mag, 2 other mags, and I can draw by pulling straight up with my left arm. So this is why I want to access most of my mag capacity on the left side, right? I can just pull straight up, and instead of having to reach around with my left arm. Because it is limited on how much I can put on my left side, right? We're already kind of decked out. I don't want to have it back here because that's going to be a weird angle to grab from. And just a note to add, obviously this is how it works for me. You might have different physique, you might wear your belt lower or higher, so make sure that that works for you. Play around, jump around, and try to draw your mags and see what works for you. So on the right side I have another mag and pistol mag pouch. To the right, if I'm using my non-dominant hand, I can straight pull up, or I can reach around, worst case if I'm already out with all of the mags. So I start with the one that is reachable the best, then I go here, here, and here, and then I'm basically out, right? So last but not least, the IFAK I put right to the pouch here. It is a QD, and so I open this buckle and I can just rip it off. So I can do that with my right hand. I just put the rifle over my shoulder. I'm able to access it quickly, and I can remove it from here, and it's not going to bother me too much because it's still not in my rear side. One thing that I forgot to add while making the video, so another addition is a snap link, and I usually put it somewhere in the first slots, either left or right side, that really depends. So you hook it into the first upper loop of your belt, something like this. There you go. And what this allows you to do is not go climbing or anything, and this isn't rated for climbing either, but to hook up anything that has a regular loop. So let's think of gloves. You take off your gloves, it's getting warm, and you can just quickly hook them in here. You have them ready, your hands are free again. So dead simple, very essential thing to add to your belt. So that's the basic layout I usually use. And now I'm just going to show you a detailed video on how to attach these kind of mounting systems to molle loops. So one thing that will come in handy is some kind of screwdriver or anything other that has this approximate shape. So especially if it's new and you want to break in the loops, this might be able to help you with prying something open in order to feed through the belt or the straps, let's say. So now we're going to pick our position. I don't want it too far up here, so I'm going to go with the second attachment, and I'm going to grab the belt and shove it through the first loop. And as I said, like, they have these buttons here, so it's kind of tight. You can help this to pry and push. You go and shove it through the first loop here. You're going to skip this one in the middle. You pull, pull, pull. And for demonstration sakes, I'm going to do the second tab too, because otherwise it's going to be tough to get it in. So same procedure here. Bear with me. Okay, so both of them are in the first loop of the belt. You want to pull until you reach the end basically, and now we're going to grab the middle loop on the pouch. We're going to route this through there. So same procedure here. You don't want to take the first one because it would overlap, so you'll figure it out. Sometimes you get the wrong one. This depends on the pouch itself. You might have to revert one step, but I'll show you what I mean by the wrong one in quotation marks. So okay, so we have both through the first loop on the belt, the second part being the one on the mag pouch. And now what I meant by the right one is I'll be able to show you. So as you can see, if it lines up here, we're using the second loop on the mag pouch. It lines up. We have the approximate same distance. So this is exactly overlapping the middle loop on the belt. So that's how you will know it is correct. So the last part is to shove these two mag pouch loops through the belt part here. Number one, and this can get a bit tricky. Number two, and what you want to do is really pull on these so it's completely flat. You don't want to have any weird gaps like here, so you want to give it a good pull. And as you can see, it now perfectly lines up. These two little pouches are going nowhere. They're sitting really well snug on the belt itself. So now this is really depending on the pouch itself. Sometimes you can you have a longer tip here and you kind of fold it over and stick it in there, but in this case it's these two buttons. Push it flat and there we go. We have attached our accessory to the molle belt. And I'm going to continue doing this with all of the rest, and the last step would be loading it up with mags and seeing if the angles are correct to pull out the mags. Maybe you need to adjust it slightly, put it further or closer to your hands. This is something you can't really test before you actually attach them, so that can take some time, but time well spent. So I hope this video was able to show you something new, and as always, stay safe and have fun.